Hello everyone. We are Group 4 and we are our team members Mitta, Chavin, Maria and myself, Ibuki. So we are going to present the Sustainable Development Goals and the research utilization. Okay. So here's the illustration of the research connected to the Sustainable Development Goals. So the first one is related to the responsible consumption and the production, because Maria is working on the optimization of electric grid. So when for E39 project, there will be many electric cars circulating. So that will affect the whole electrical grid system. So she wants to make it as efficiently as possible. And I'm working on the structural optimization of bridges. So I want to minimize the necessary materials as less as possible, while meeting all the structural loading. So this first picture, I drew the concept of optimization qualitatively. So we want to get to this optimum design, which is indicated by this Norwegian flag. But the design is restricted by a series of constraints. So for the bridge designs, we have a series of constraints such as side limits of the design variables, or stress displacement constraints or aerodynamic constraints. So these are represented by these fences. This person is walking toward the Norwegian flag, the optimum design, by optimization algorithms. And the second one is the industry innovation and infrastructure. Mitta is working on developing the software to assist engineers to be able to design bridge structures, so which calculates the stress and the strain of the bridge structures. And the third one is related to the sustainable cities and the communities. And Chavin is working on the concrete cracking. So he wants to basically prevent the premature concrete cracking, so that concrete structure can have a longer service life. Also, the longer bridge structure with a longer service life will is able to connect the communities for a longer life, and which will contribute to the sustainable development.
Mm-hmm. So we have identified two main assets in our research, and one is data collection. We are doing a lot of data collection in all our projects, for example on wind waves, crackers, concrete crackers on buildings and bridges, currents, also driving patterns of electric vehicles and trucks. And previously there's been lack of data, but now with more digitalization, we think that in the future we will have much more data available, for example, so-called big data. And one issue is to handle all this data. How can we work with the data and find interesting results from that? But also the new, for example, in Sweden we have the new data, in European Union we have the new data protection law. So how can we in the future make sure that we can use a lot of data available also in the research? Another one is models that we work with, both optimization models, so material and energy flows, and also numerical models. And here we discussed a lot about both things that if we can make the models available, like that you can download the models, that could be both beneficial, but there are also issues with that. For example, we have mostly models that we own, or that we buy, so commercial models. But if we're gonna upload the models, we need to also make sure that the data could be available for everyone, but also that there might be, if we lose control of the models, there might be an issue with that the models are developing in a way that we cannot stand behind, but there is also a possibility that we can get help with developing the models from more researchers, not only in our research group. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm Chavin. Among all the sustainable development goals, we have selected these 5 goals because these the goal number 7, affordable and sustainable energy. This is directly related to Maria's research because she's dealing with electrified roads which can use the solar energy to charge their electrical car while it's on the road. And the second goal is industry innovation and infrastructure, which is related to Mitta's research, and he's dealing with he's developing tools to measure the responses from floating bridges. And sustainable cities and communities, that goal is directly related to my research, which is finding solutions to prevent cracks, which is a requirement for the E39 project, where the cover is larger than 75 millimeters, so like for large covers. The next goal is responsible consumption and production, and it is directly related to Ibuki's research, and she's trying to find out the most optimum bridge cross section to use minimum material. And of course all these goals and our researchers are related to climate actions, because all our aim is to produce low carbon, so it will affect the climate actions. And of course this will, the saved material and saved cost will use to improve the society, and decent work and economic growth is our next goal. So yeah.
And here we'd like to address the main stakeholders who are involved in the decision making, or in the process of either designing or making decisions. What is the important aspects to be considered? And the first, of course, the most important is the investor itself. In that case, public road administration, who will be owning the highway and will also have to maintain it all the years. They are the one that should be aware of all these different aspects and where maybe put more or less weight. And then second, they are of course designers and the construction companies. They somehow, through their work, they should consider also these aspects towards sustainable infrastructure. There are a lot of components included, like energy companies and grid operators that there will be during the life cycle of the bridge there. So it's important to have optimal design, to have a low power consumption and have low impact on the nature itself. And as well, there will be vehicle companies included here, of course, the electric cars and the grids and so on. Mainly, this is provided for the local region, and they are the one they'll be using it. So it's important to also communicate with them. And here we are focusing and presenting 3 main groups, and there are researchers, designers, and of course the investor. Here what we point out is very important, the communication between these 3 groups, and this usually goes in a way of collaboration through different networks that we establish. We have some common meetings, and we have some reports packages. We found that here, from our experience, usually these are the reports that the different groups are communicating. So it's very important for us, for example, researchers, that we pack the information in the way that is suitable either for investor or the designer to provide information that can be used. And one example we have made here, it will be good to use a BIM application for all the projects. In that way, if you have a BIM, it's a digital model which is available both for a designer and for the investor. So the communication goes quickly, and you don't need to draw paper plans and so on. So this is a really efficient way of communicating. But nevertheless, the most important is, of course, human communication. So the meetings are be there to establish a good communication. With that thought, I would like to conclude our presentation. Thank you very much.